My original question was, how do you get found on Amazon, because or any of the others? Because if you put in search bar fantasy, which is my genre, you get 654,000 entries. So how do you get past that? But now, since you brought up the KDP Select, can you unenroll on that?
Yes. So every 3 months you're allowed to pull your book out, and then you can go wide and distribute everywhere. I think every author should have their book at Amazon. There's no doubt about that, because it's the world's largest ebook marketplace. But I'm also a big believer in getting your book out there to readers of all the different retailers. But Amazon makes it tough for you to leave, because if you don't remember to opt out, then they automatically renew you. And by participating in KDP Select, by agreeing to make your book exclusive to them, they give you merchandising benefits. They make your book more discoverable, more desirable to their customers. Because when one of their customers is looking at your book page, even if your book has a price of $3.99 on it, their merchandising page will say, read this book for free as part of your Kindle Unlimited subscription, or read it for free as part of your Prime subscription. So they're really driving down the value of books with that. And there are over 1 million books enrolled in KDP Select, exclusive to Amazon. That's over 1 million reasons for readers to never purchase another single copy of an ebook again if they can get those books for free. Kindle Unlimited. Yes?
With the democratization or the digital revolution and the digital reproduction of the creative aspect of the writer, the author, the photographer, the painter, all of that, whether it's reproduced in giclée form, whether it's reproduced in all kinds of other ways through this democratization process, something is lost. I mean, to me as the artist, the Michelangelo, God Almighty, what he created. Now we can take our digital cameras, take a picture, terrific, send it, put a little USB port in there, reproduce it, and all of a sudden there's a uniqueness that is lost. I'm not saying, that I'm against what's happening, with it, but I think we have to accept the fact that we're maybe diluting some of the uniqueness, the creativity, that spark that, gets an author going, and next thing you know, it's being run off on a reproduction, machine, whether it's painting, the painters go through that, as a photographer you go through that, whether it's in, giclée form or so on. So I'm, a little bit concerned.
So are you asking that, are you saying that you believe that because anyone can do it now, it's no longer as special?
No.
Is that what you're concerned about?
I think there's an aspect to it. Yeah.
You think that there's an aspect to it?
Yeah, there's an aspect to it. The delusion.
Because anybody can do it?
Well, because you can now have 10,000 more Lisas, hanging up all over the place.
Yeah.
And it'll be on canvas, and it'll look practically original.
So here's the way I look at that. I think every one of us is a Michelangelo. Every one of us has something important to share with the world. And your book is important. If your book has the potential to change the life of one person, even if that person is your son or daughter or grandchild, your book is just as important as a New York Times bestseller. Your book has every right to get published. By allowing everyone to publish, it's enabled an amazing diversity of books out there. Books that previously would never have been given a chance by traditional publishers. It's allowed readers to enjoy this amazing diversity. It's allowed readers to discover the bestsellers of today, books that had previously been rejected by the traditional publishers. So I think I think we're in the middle of a renaissance now, where everyone has a chance to put their creative potential out there and be judged by the audience. But yes, there is a glut of content out there. Like this gentleman was saying, how do I get discovered? In these stores, I'm competing, at Amazon, you're competing against close to 7 million other ebooks and, probably hundreds of thousands of other fantasy novels. It is tough. There's a glut of high-quality content out there, and because it's in digital form, it's never going to go out of print, which means every day from this day forward, your competition is going to increase. But think about the alternative. The alternative is only 1% of you get to publish a book ever in your life, and the other 99% of you get to feel like failed writers for the rest of your life. And that's what the situation was 10 years ago. Thanks for the question. Yes?
Just a quick question. Do you, in some of what you've published so far on helping authors to get their work out there, do you also have snippets on keyword search or how to best put in, so search engines discover your book? Like if it's a culinary mystery, are there keywords that you can put in for searches? Is that something that Smashwords can do as well?
We do, in my Smashwords Book Marketing Guide and in the podcast, I spend a lot of time talking about these things that you can do to make your book more discoverable, more desirable to readers. So I do talk a little bit about keywords, but I talk about a lot of other important things that most authors aren't even doing. I can talk about a few of them that really matter the most. Professional editing, if you can afford it, you should do it. A lot of self-published authors make the mistake of editing their own book and publishing it. And it's filled with typos, readers hate it, and the book's not going to sell well and they're going to fail. The next most important thing is a professional cover. Lots of self-published authors, to save money, design their own ebook covers. Those covers look amateur. They look homemade. That scares readers away. I've got an interesting case study that I talk about in some of my presentations and in the podcast. Romance author R.L. Mathewson had really a horrible cover to start off with for her romance novel. It looked like it could have been a book for learning how to play poker. It was called Playing for Keeps. And then she simply changed the cover and put an image on there that made an appropriate promise for her target audience that her book would fulfill. And within about 3 weeks, she became a New York Times bestseller. This was a book that was on the market for probably 2 months. And then it broke out just from a cover change. And she's since improved the cover since then. So professional cover design doesn't cost very much. We have a list of cover designers at Smashwords. We'll do it for as low as $50, which is like ultra cheap. But if you want to splurge, hire a professional cover designer for $200. There are awesome cover designers out there. Don't try to design your cover yourself. The next thing, every single book that you release from this day forward, you need to release it as a pre-order. Pre-orders earn a lot more sales than books that are just simply uploaded the day of release. And I've got a lot of data that I share in the podcast on pre-orders. They're like one of the most effective forms of book marketing today, and only about 15% of indie authors are taking advantage of the pre-order tool. Close to 100% of traditional publishers are taking advantage of it. So the authors who are doing pre-orders are selling, often 2-3 times more than what the non-pre-order books are selling. If you're publishing multiple books, like if you publish series, price the first book in the series for free. We've got a lot of authors at Smashwords where that's the only marketing they do, is pricing the first book in their series at free, and then it drives readers into the series, gives the reader a chance to enjoy your work, get to come to be familiar with it, get invested in the story, you gain their trust, and then they purchase your other books in the series. So those are a few of the things that you can do. And then I'll give you a couple other ideas. There's a section in the podcast and in the book, in the marketing guide, where I talk about autopilot marketing. So there are a lot of autopilot marketing things you can do. These are like set and forget things that you can do to help your book market itself. Like, for example, a lot of authors make the mistake in their self-published ebook, they'll end the book with a period and then nothing after that. Well, put yourself in the shoes of that reader. They just discovered you for the first time. They love you. They want to read more of your stuff. They want to learn more about you. They want to connect with you. So at the end of your book, add these 3 sections. Add a short bio that humanizes the author. Like, Mary Jones raises peacocks in the Santa Cruz Mountains, or whatever. Something that makes you a real person. The next section to add, other books by Mary Smith. And the 3rd section, connect with Mary Smith. You're going to put all your social media coordinates on there, your Twitter address, Facebook, any social media that you participate on. This allows readers who have just fallen in love with you to form a relationship with you. You should have a private mailing list. Every author should have a private mailing list because that's an opportunity for you to build a platform that you control. So at the back of your book, you should add a link there of what they can click on so they can join your private mailing list. So those are a few examples of things you can do, and I've got 60 other ideas in there that you're welcome to
Those are
take
in your
advantage of.
podcast.
They're in the podcast and they're in the Snappy Book Marketing Guide.
Okay.
The podcast has more.